I would entertain a motion that the council consider ordinance 434 of the city of Buckhannon.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Rylands. May I have a second to his motion?
Second.
I have a second by Mrs. Albaugh. The motion is now upon the table, first for council discussion, and then we will entertain guest discussion.
First of all, to the community, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude for the prayers and consideration for my family upon the passage of Aunt Tappy. Her legacy at BUHS is, and our family, we bleed Buccaneer blue and white, and she will be greatly missed, not only for us, but in the sports and in the education system here in the community. So I want to thank everybody first on behalf of my family. I also want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think that this is important, that we have feedback from the community when something like this comes up. So now I want to get into my remarks about this ordinance. So if you'll indulge me, I'd like to read these. This particular ordinance concerns me. I've slept very little and eaten pretty erratically for the past several days because of the angst over tonight. This is a no-win situation, and it's a proposal that should have never been placed on the agenda for consideration. Let me be very clear first. I in no way, shape, or form support any act of discrimination toward any member of the human race, period. I do, however, fundamentally disagree with a municipal governing body passing social legislation onto its citizens and businesses. That is wrong. City council should focus on providing the community with well-maintained streets, parks, and sidewalks. We should continue to invest in our public safety departments. We should develop policies that foster economic growth. We should always be good stewards of our finances. The proposal of this ordinance shows that this governing body is not focused on the right things. Now, some of you may argue that this ordinance will help bring new people and businesses into the community. And sure, that may be true. But it won't be in the top 10 reasons as to why someone would consider moving to or moving their business to Buckhannon, or any city for that matter. It's far more important that our school system have a strong reputation, that our hospital be on the cutting edge of the latest medical advancement, that our tax structure be competitive, that our real estate market be attractive, that our crime rate be low, that our public safety officers be well-trained and well-staffed, and that our infrastructure be second to none. Fairness West Virginia has been quoted in trying to label cities that did not pass this ordinance as non-friendly and non-progressive communities. They cite Parkersburg, which is one of the cities who recently failed their version of the ordinance by a 6-3 vote, as a city that is in desperate need of this ordinance because have it in place because they've lost population. However, Charleston, Huntington, Wheeling, Thurman, and Sutton, all places that have adopted the non-discrimination ordinance structure, have all lost population. On the contrary, Martinsburg, Shepherdstown, Charlestown, Harpersferry, and Morgantown have all gained population. But we know why. It's their proximity to DC and then, of course, West Virginia University in Morgantown. Instilling change in a community is necessary for its future. That is true. But it's how we do it that will aid in the successful progression of or its miserable failure. I believe change happens when we lead by example and by our actions, not by the words on paper. We do not need an ordinance to tell us to be kind, to be heartfelt, to be compassionate, to be understanding, to be loving, or to be accepting. The most influential leaders in our history were servant leaders. They dug deep, invested in their people, and worked among them to make a difference. Human nature dictates that we do not like to behave, we don't like to be told how to behave. We want to be shown how to behave. Finally, the proposal of this ordinance undermines the recent strides that Buckhannon has made to be a community where everyone is rowing the boat in the same direction. We've overcome extreme obstacles to become the beautiful, bustling, and friendly community that we are. And we are well known to be across the state and across this region. I've had the opportunity to travel to all 55 counties in the state of West Virginia, as well as all 55 county seats. I can tell you that we're different because we're working together. Unfortunately, just the proposal of this ordinance, clearly by the room, I know a lot of people in the room, has already parted the seas. And for that, I am truly sad, because it didn't need to happen. When I ran for city council, I vowed to you, I vowed to every person I went door to door to, that I will always do what's best for our community. So I've worked hard to make sure that I've kept that mindset at the forefront of every decision. Sometimes it goes against my personal feelings. If I was being personal tonight, I'd be with my family. But I'm here because this is important, because Buckhannon isn't about me. Buckhannon is about all of us, and I love this place dearly. This is my hometown. I was born here at St. Joseph's Hospital. I graduated from Buckhannon Upshur High School, and I'm very proud of that. I also graduated from West Virginia Wesleyan, and I've chosen to make my business and my career and my happiness and my life here. I can't support an ordinance that I see as a mechanism to tear us apart. I want to pass ordinances, and I want to lead, and I want to be a part of a community, and I want to be a part of things that bring us together. And that's what I had to say.
Mayor, I'd like to speak now.
Sure, come on.
There is not a person on the left or the right in this room that I either dislike or hate. I'm going to begin with that. On either side. I've gone back and forth with this ordinance. Andrew Schneider, if he were here tonight, he would tell you that I've gone back and forth. I've asked a lot of hard questions of him, of myself, of the council, of the city, of what's right, of what's wrong, of what preserves liberty and promotes liberty, what reduces liberty. And here is my conclusion after an equal amount of sleepless nights and lack of eating, which is probably a good thing after the holidays. Here are my conclusions. The mayor has said time and time again, and let me also preface by saying that I've fully supported many of the things that Mayor McCauley has done, including the sales tax, including the Arts and Culture Initiative, and I will not take that back. And I'll do it again. However, Mayor McCauley has said on multiple occasions, and he will probably say tonight, that he views sexuality, human sexuality, sexual orientation, and gender identity to be on par with race. If that is your viewpoint, then this thing needs to pass. However, this council does not have the right to impose that understanding of the apparent equality of human sexuality and race upon the vast majority of the members of the residents of this city. I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of business owners, a lot of people that live in this town, and 9 out of 10 voices have said to me, this is not only unnecessary, it's divisive and it's going to hurt us. This council does not have the right to impose that perspective upon people with alternative viewpoints. The second issue that I have, in the exemptions, we find some protections for organized churches, nonprofit organizations, religious groups and organizations, but we don't find any protection for individual Christians who may or may not agree with these understandings. There are no protections for individual pastors who perform marriages and who may decide not to perform the public accommodation of marriage for a gay marriage of any kind. So I find the protections in place for those of alternative belief in this community, who happen to be the majority, to be insufficient. Third, I believe that business owners are individuals with free moral agency. They take a beating, they're fun to beat up, I know. I beat up other business owners, I get beat up all the time, it's just part of the game. That's fine. But business owners are employers, they take risk, they struggle, they spend the night wondering how they're going to make payroll tomorrow. They drive to Michigan to pick up checks to make sure their employees are taken care of. That's what business owners often deal with. And to try and attempt to strip away the free moral agency of a business owner to make his determinations or her determinations about what he or she thinks to be right or wrong is not only immoral, it's unsafe and it's un-American. I also want to go ahead and preemptively say, if there is an attempt to table this tonight, I'm going to vehemently fight that and bring it for a vote tonight. There are people of both sides here, liberal, conservative, right, left, centrist. We claim to be a transparent government. We claim to be leaders in this community. So I'm going to go ahead and ask that regardless of the statements made by all the individuals here tonight, that we live up to what we claim to be, a brave, bold, fearless, transparent government, and take a vote tonight in front of everybody. We need to settle this today one way or another. If this ordinance passes, I'm going to sign it. I'm the city recorder. I will sign it if it passes. That's the right thing for me to do in my position. I took an oath. But I will do so under protest. That's all I have to say.
If our intention is to be a safe, affordable, welcoming community where a point is made to include everyone that wants to participate, then we have to behave in line with those intentions. According to the last census, Upshur County was 97.6% Caucasian. If you look around the country and you find places that are following a path of ascension, there's a much greater element of diversity. And I think it's important that people of different persuasions and orientations feel that they're welcome in our community. And I support this.
I just want to say I have friends that belong to the LGBT community. I have relatives who belong to that also. And I in no way, shape, or form against anybody. But my problem is I've been in business for years, and I feel as a taxpayer and as a business person, I should have the right to not perform a service for a person, because I've gone through a lot of stuff with people who come in and give me really big problems, and I feel that I should have that right to turn them away or say no. And I also believe this is going to open a can of worms if we pass this. And we all have loved ones. There probably isn't any of us that's not touched with this, and it is a hard decision. But my decision, I will vote no against it. Right now, that's what I feel. I feel it's best for the community, and that's just all I have to say about it.
Mary Oswald.
I did a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching, and I love y'all. Okay, I had two very nice gentlemen to contact me, one of them twice, and I respect each of you for speaking up and using your freedom of speech, your thinking, all of it. I wish it was always this way in this city council chambers. Wow, it's, it would be nice to have a big crowd every 2 times a month. But no, we've got this controversy here, okay? And I know it's a personal issue for everyone. Like, my vote is a personal issue to me. I did a lot of thinking. I did a lot of praying. And I have to decide what I felt was right. I am a Christian, and I do believe, but I have to think what is best as a city council person and separate myself. I'm not a business person. I'm a worker. I'm a caregiver, okay? I caregive this city because I love it. And I love the people. And I don't care who you are or what you do, all right? I'm not the person to judge anybody. None of you are, and nobody here is. We're here to run a city the best way we can possible. And to do that, we have to be more open, we have to be more caring, which we are, but even more so, we have to welcome people to come in within our community. That's how we grow. And I think there's a lot of things, when one person talked to me about all this bullying and bullying and bullying and bullying in the high school and in the middle school. It happens. And because I have friends that it's happening to. They're children. And so, because I've witnessed that and seen the heartbreak from these kids, I was torn too. But I still believe that what we're doing here is right. We just have to go on.
Dave Thomas.
I think one of the worst fights I ever got in my life was when I was a freshman in college. I lived in an athletic dorm, and somebody was getting elevated because they were gay. And I had to rip the door down.
louder?
I'm sorry. So one of the worst fights I ever got into in my life was when I lived in a dormitory, residence hall in college, and somebody was getting the hell beat out of him because he was gay. And I had to kick the door down to help the person out. I also, when I ran for city council the first time, 2004, because I'm blind, it was difficult for me to go door to door. So I had some volunteers, many of them, that would take me around and I knock on doors. And some of my friends are gay. And I had a couple phone calls after that, and the person said, you know, that person walking around has an alternative lifestyle and is gay? And I said, yes, I know that. He said, well, I'm not going to vote for you. I said, fine, I don't want your vote. But I am really, really proud, well, of everybody up here saying what they think. But I'm especially proud of our two youngest members of the city council and what they had to say. And we need to be transparent. And I don't think you can put something on paper and that's how you're going to be friendly and open, inclusive, and so forth. You do it by your actions, by what you do for the community. Racism and bigotry is not genetic, it's taught. And I believe that firmly. And I don't like this process that we did. The ordinance was not finalized until late yesterday, that's my understanding, or in the afternoon. I read it for the first time today. Based on what I read today, I will vote against it. I don't think it's something
Well, everybody else has gotten off of their remarks. I am 100% supportive of this ordinance. We all have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and try to do the best we can for the people that we represent. And we have a great number of gay folks at Wesleyan College, out of Buckhannon Upshur High School, right here in our corporate limits, business people that work on the streets just up the way. And Mr. Skinner, I'm not in the same position as Dave Thomas. I take offense to your comments and suggestions that
Sure you do.
we have created this divisive thing. First off, it was not my initiative to create this. There were members of our community, primarily people of alternative orientations, who sought out the assistance of Fairness West Virginia to come here, and Andrew Schneider had been here 2 or 3 times and addressed this council over the past 2 years, and they asked for this matter to be considered. It has nothing to do with creating an unnecessary divisive thing. Oftentimes, some of the foremost issues that our democratic republic takes up, whether it's at the state level or the federal level or at the local level, where the rubber really does hit the road, by the way, originate at the local level. I want to give you a similar story. I've taught up at Wesleyan for the last 36 years, and the majority of that time, I've taught constitutional law. And we all know the history lesson from the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. And there was a landmark case decided by the United States Supreme Court in 1896. It involved a fellow who was 1/8 black. His name was Homer Plessy, and it happened down in the state of Louisiana. And Homer Plessy was a test case for the fledgling, what really ultimately became the NAACP. Homer Plessy had the audacity to board a white car on a train. And he was a 1/8 black man, and the conductor didn't know that he was 1/8 black. And Homer Plessy gets on the car and he starts yelling, "I'm 1/8 black, I'm 1/8 black." And the guy says, "Keep it down. You can just ride on the white car because you don't really look like you're black." "Oh no, I'm black, I'm proud." So they call a detective, the cops drag him off. Case goes to the United States Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court, in one of the most shameful decisions in the history of this country, decided that Homer Plessy didn't have equal protection under the law. And that case stayed the law of this nation until 58 years later, when our United States Supreme Court had the fortitude to overturn Plessy versus Ferguson in Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, and the other 4 companion cases. To this day, Pam Caperi says, "I just don't think people should have to be confronted with taking care of people like this." Well, Pam, I got news for you. If someone who was black came into your beauty parlor tomorrow and said, "I'd like a haircut," and you happen to be a bigoted person who doesn't like black people, or Jewish people, or Islamic people, or people who are Italian or Polish or whatever it is, you better cut their hair, because those folks have all of those protections to go against you or Walmart, the biggest businesses, the smallest businesses. You get the idea. All we're doing with this ordinance is attempting to extend the protections to people of other orientations. They would enjoy the same rights as people of color, ethnicity, age, handicap, religion. That's all that this ordinance is intended to do, is level the playing field, to make it equally inviting for everyone to live in.
As a taxpayer, or if somebody comes in there who treats me disrespectfully, I should have the right to say, "I'm not going to wait on you."
Absolutely. And it wouldn't make any difference whether they were straight, gay, or whatever.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. And it wouldn't make any difference whether they were black, white, or whatever.
Right.
Or whether they were Methodist, Jewish, or an atheist. It wouldn't make any difference if they were disrespectful toward you. But we're not talking about disrespect. We're talking about according respect to all people under the Equal Protection Clause. That's what this ordinance is about. So
Can I
I,
ask you a legal question?
sure, how about it?
I'm not an attorney and I don't play one
Well,
on
I
TV.
am.
I know,
I
that's
have
why I'm
been for
asking you.
36 years.
That's why I'm asking you. Here's my question. Can I be turned away from a business because I'm a Christian legally in the United States?
No,
No,
I can't?
no.
no,
Okay.
and I'm not a lawyer either.
Can I ask why we're comparing, Robin Allen, comparing race and sexual preference? What I see is apples and oranges. Anytime there's discrimination, I disagree with it. Nobody should be denied their rights. However, what you just explained, you gave a story about Civil War, you gave a story about racism,
That's right.
and then you equate that to sexual preference.
100%.
When I fill out a government application, or any application, it says, are you white, black, Caucasian, Indian, whatever. It doesn't say, are you white, black, Caucasian, homosexual, lesbian, undecided. They're not in the same category.
Right.
You need to separate those two.
No,
before
no, sir. You should
forward
read
with
the
your
briefs in the case of Obergefell versus Hodges.
That's
Decided 3 years
Sir,
ago.
I'm not a
You're
lawyer
not
with
Supreme
30
Court.
years experience, but
I'm
I'm an
just telling you.
American with common sense.
The U.S. Supreme Court. The motion is on the table. We've had thorough discussion. The minutes will reflect that we've had thorough discussion. We're calling for the question. All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Aye. It's very close, but I think it's 4-3 the nays. Let's do the roll call vote. Mary Albaugh,
Yes,
Mr. Skinner,
No.
Mr. Rigger,
No.
Mr. Rylands,
Yes.
Pam Caparian,
No.
Mr. Thomas,
No.
and the mayor votes yes. The measure fails 4-3.